everyone. Let's talk about making money in stocks. We're going to break down a really powerful system, one that comes from William J. O'Neill's legendary book. The goal here is simple. Cut through all the noise and get right to a method that has proven itself over and over again.
All right, so let's just jump right in with a big question. You've heard it a million times, right? Buy low, sell high. It sounds so simple, so logical. But what if I told you that when it comes to the biggest winning stocks, that's actually terrible advice? What if the real secret is doing the exact opposite? And here's where we see that split in thinking. You've got the common investor, right? They see a stock's price dropping and think, ooh, a bargain. They're listening to rumors, hoping to catch a falling knife. But then you have the successful investor. They're doing something that feels, well, wrong to most people. They buy stocks as they're going up, on strength. They're not listening to tips. They're looking at cold, hard data. It's a total mindset shift, and we're going to get into exactly why it's so powerful. Okay, so before we can learn how to win, we've got to understand why so many people lose. And the reason might not be what you think. It's not about being unlucky or picking the wrong market.
The biggest hurdle is us. It's our own psychology. The number one reason investors fail isn't because they're not smart enough. It's because emotions, fear, greed, that dangerous little thing called hope, hijack their decisions. We get scared and sell a winner way too early, or we get hopeful and hang on to a loser all the way down. This whole game isn't about being a genius. It's about mastering your own mind.
So at its core, the stock market is just about supply and demand. Pretty simple. But here's the key. The demand that really moves the needle doesn't come from you or me. It comes from the big guys, the institutional investors. We're talking mutual funds, banks, pension funds. These are the elephants moving through the jungle. You can't stop them and you can't predict them, but you can learn to spot their footprints.
So, how exactly do we spot those footprints? Well, that's where this next part comes in. We're going to learn how to read the market's X-ray, the charts.
I love this quote from O'Neill because it's just perfect. A chart is your X-ray. Think about it. A doctor doesn't just guess what's wrong. They look at an X-ray to see what's happening inside the body. A stock chart does the exact same thing. It cuts through all the news and opinions and shows you the raw, unfiltered truth of a stock's health based on price and volume. It's the real story.
And this right here is one of the classic patterns you'll learn to spot. It's called the cup with handle. It looks just like it sounds. A stock has a nice run-up, then it pulls back and rounds out, forming the cup. Then, right at the end, it makes this tiny little dip. That's the handle. What's happening here is crucial. The big institutions are accumulating shares, and that little handle is often the final moment they shake out the nervous sellers before, boom, the price takes off. It's a massive buy signal.
All right, we know what clues to look for in the charts. Now let's get to the secret sauce. This is the heart of the whole system, a 7-part checklist for finding the absolute best stocks before they become household names. And it's an acronym, CANSLIM. Each of these letters represents a specific trait that nearly all of the greatest performing stocks in history had before they made their huge moves. Seriously, think of this as your filter. It's a checklist that weeds out the junk and leaves you with only the highest potential candidates. First up is C, for current quarterly earnings. And let me be clear, we are not looking for good earnings. We're not looking for pretty good. We are looking for spectacular, blow the doors off earnings growth. This is the first sign that something special is happening with a company right now. So what kind of numbers are we talking about? You want to see growth of at least 25%, 50%, or even higher in the most recent quarter. That's the kind of fuel that launches rockets.
Okay, next is A, for annual earnings growth. One amazing quarter is great, but we don't want a one-hit wonder. We need to see a solid track record. This means the company has been growing its profits consistently for at least the last 3 years. That tells you this isn't a fluke, it's a well-run machine. Then we have N, for new. This is the catalyst, the spark. The biggest winners always have something new going on. Think about it, Apple and the iPhone, Microsoft and Windows. It could be a revolutionary new product, a game-changing service, or even new leadership that just shakes things up. This new factor is what gets everyone excited and drives the stock to new heights.
S stands for supply and demand. We already touched on this, but it's crucial. You want big demand from those institutional buyers, but you also want a relatively small supply of shares available to buy. It's like a bidding war at an auction for a rare piece of art. When a lot of big players want something that's scarce, the price has nowhere to go but up, and often it goes up fast. Next up, L is for leader or laggard. This one's a no-brainer. You want the best of the best, the top dog in the industry. Don't go digging in the bargain bin for the cheap, slow-moving stocks. Those stocks are cheap for a reason. You want to own the leader, the company everyone else is trying to catch. I is for institutional sponsorship. This brings us right back to those elephants. You want to see that the smart money is already invested. Are the top-performing mutual funds and banks buying this stock? That's a huge vote of confidence. It means the pros have done their homework and they like what they see. You're not trying to be the first one of the party. You just want to make sure the cool kids are already there. And finally, we have M for market direction. And honestly, this might be the most important one. You could find the perfect CanSlim stock a textbook example, but if the entire market is sinking, it's like trying to swim upstream against a powerful current. Your amazing stock is probably going down with everything else. So the golden rule here is don't fight the market. Make sure the overall trend is on your side. Okay, so CanSlim gives us this incredible checklist for what to buy. But that's only half the equation. Now we've got to talk about the other half, which is just as important: when to buy, and just as critically, when to sell. This quote says it all. You can pick an amazing company, but if you buy it at the wrong time, you're not going to make money. Your timing, that entry point, is absolutely everything. So when is that perfect moment? It's called the breakout point. This is when the stock, after building a base, like that cup with handle pattern we saw, finally punches through its old price ceiling. But here's the clincher. It has to happen on a huge spike in volume. That volume is the market screaming, "This is real, we're going higher." It's the ultimate green light to buy. Now, listen up, because this is probably the single most important rule for survival. It's your ultimate safety net. If you buy a stock and it drops 8% from what you paid for it, you sell. Period. No exceptions. You don't hope it comes back. You don't ask for a second opinion. You just sell. This single rule will protect you from a small mistake turning into a devastating loss. It's non-negotiable. So we've covered the what to buy with CanSlim and the when to buy and sell. But none of this works without the final piece of the puzzle, the one we started with, your mindset. Think about this number for a second. The system's creator believes that a full 80% of your success comes down to psychology. 80%. You can memorize every rule, you can find the perfect chart, but if you don't have the mental discipline to actually follow your own rules, the whole system is useless. And these are the enemies right here. Fear makes you panic and sell a winner. Greed makes you chase after some hot stock you know you shouldn't. And hope. Hope is the most dangerous one because it's what makes you hold a losing stock way past that 8% stop-loss rule. The whole point of a system like CanSlim is to give you a set of logical rules to follow so these emotions can't wreck your portfolio. So I'll leave you with this question. We know the system works. It has a long history of success. The blueprint is right here. The real question isn't about the system anymore. It's about you. Do you have the discipline to follow the rules even when it feels uncomfortable? To cut a loss at 8%? To buy a stock that's already going up? How disciplined are you really?
What We Can Learn from How to Make Money in Stocks by William J. O'Neill teaches us that successful investing is not about luck or following tips. It's about discipline, analysis, and understanding how the market truly works. The first major lesson we learn is that the stock market moves according to the law of supply and demand, and prices reflect human psychology. Most people lose money because they act emotionally, buying when prices fall and selling when fear rises. O'Neill reminds us that great investors do the opposite. They buy strength, not weakness. We also learn the importance of reading charts, the language of the market. O'Neill compares stock charts to medical x-rays. Without them, we're blind. By studying price and volume patterns, we can identify strong companies before they become famous. The book's signature contribution, the CanSlim system, gives us a powerful framework to find winning stocks. Each letter teaches something essential. Look for companies with strong current and annual earnings growth, exciting new products or management, limited share supply with high demand, leadership in their industry, institutional sponsorship, and finally, a market direction that supports buying. This system turns investing into a structured, rule-based strategy rather than guesswork. Another vital lesson is timing, knowing when to buy and when to sell. O'Neill emphasizes that we should only buy when a stock breaks out of a proper chart pattern with strong volume, signaling that professional investors are buying. At the same time, he insists on setting stop-loss limits to protect our capital, never allowing a loss of more than 7 to 8% on any trade. This simple rule can save investors from large and painful losses. From O'Neill, we also learn the importance of psychology and self-control. He explains that the stock market is a daily display of human emotions: greed, fear, hope, and denial. To succeed, we must manage our emotions better than others. Investing is not about predicting the future, it's about reacting intelligently to what the market is showing right now. Patience, discipline, and objectivity separate winners from losers. The book also teaches us to focus on quality over cheapness. Many investors chase low-priced stocks thinking they're bargains, but O'Neill shows that the real winners are often higher-priced, higher-quality leaders with strong earnings and innovative products. Cheap stocks are usually cheap for a reason: weak performance, poor management, or no growth potential. Another profound insight from O'Neill is about studying history. He analyzed more than 100 years of America's greatest stock market winners and found that the same chart patterns and growth behaviors repeat again and again. This tells us that human nature and market behavior never really change. What worked decades ago still works today if we learn to recognize it. Finally, O'Neill teaches that investing success takes practice and commitment. You don't need to be a genius to make money in stocks, but you do need to be serious. Continuous learning, studying past winners, and analyzing your mistakes are keys to long-term success. With time and patience, anyone can master the market if they follow proven rules and keep their emotions under control.